Hey everybody, welcome back to another amazing episode of Fast Charging with B&B. I'm Brian. He says that, but I just don't know whether or not to believe him. Nah, I'm just kidding. There's no Bear this week due to a scheduling conflict. Bear is unfortunately in prison for not showing up to this live stream. So this will probably be going up on the main channel as a condensed version since it's basically a news roundup. And if you're catching this on the replay, go over to my second channel maybe and subscribe because I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can monetize. Oh, it's killing me. Oh, did you know that there are times when, due to time of use charging prices, time of use electricity usage, you can pay a negative amount to charge your car? Yeah, when the grid has too much power and they've got to get rid of the juice, they can either, there's curtailment ways they can use, which is basically sparking it up into the air or grounding it into the, ground. Or they can just pay you to take it, which is actually cheaper and better. Because they know that giving it to you for nothing, for less than nothing, means you won't need to use it later. So that actually helps during peak times. Norway wants people to park their EVs and ride the bus. After years of pushing people into EVs, they're saying, maybe cars aren't the end-all, be-all. And they're right. Cars aren't the end-all, be-all. But the idea is we're pushing in the right direction. We're not going for perfection first. I know there's a whole F-cars movement that says we need to get away from the whole idea of needing an automobile entirely. That's fair, but that would require 100 years of construction to be undone. And that's difficult. That's a tough sell. And what do you want to do? Tear down the cities? That's not very green. No, we need to make the best of what we have and what we can do with it. Tesla owner apologizes after admitting to lying about brake failure. Tesla's going after owners in China who put together a misinformation campaign about its vehicle's brakes. Now, this may come as one heck of a surprise, you guys, but the person who said that the car accelerated on its own was lying. Yeah, the situation became so dire that Tesla's cars were banned from certain areas for safety concerns. Elon guides the company. He doesn't do everything, but he's the guy who points the ship in the right direction. The captain of the ship, if you will. Not the guy shoveling the coal or tying down the ropes, but he knows how those things are done. And if there's one thing we know about Elon, is that he will not back down from a legal challenge unless he absolutely must. Most times it works, but at the very least, it's a good way of sending the message that random legal nonsense, shenanigans, not tolerated. So they went through the black box and found that, no, he was one pedal driving. After the accident, I was upset, though I knew I had pressed the accelerator instead of the brake. Everyone saw that coming, because it's a very common human mistake to make. Now let's get into the places I was wrong. United, the rental company, orders more than 500 EVs from Ford. Not just the F-150 Lightning, but also a handful of the eTransit electric vans. I was wrong in saying that these would not be coming to the market and not be coming soon, certainly soon enough, but they're here and they're real. And so far, they seem to be doing okay. They're not really in hands, but they're being produced. And the fact that United is getting a bunch is a big deal. This is validation for the brand. And getting them in the hands of rentals means more and more people will be able to drive them, to know them, and to love them. 1 in 5 F-150 Lightnings is the cheap one, is a $40,000 Pro model. Ford says fleets are the core of its business, and that's why it's building plenty of base models targeting business owners. This is where I was definitely wrong. I was just sure. Now, I still believe that these are loss leaders, or at the very best, they're just barely breaking even, but I still think they're loss leaders. But they're making them, and they're selling them. Yeah. The top-of-the-line ones have MSRPs as high as $90,000. That could offset the $40,000 Pro variant. That's a huge deal for these contractors. They're not being left out. They're not being forgotten. Fleets are going to struggle to get as many as they want, but they're going to get some. They're not being left out entirely. Ford F150 Lightning seen stockpiled at Dearborn Test Track. Or is it a chip shortage? Who knows? This happened to the ICE versions as well. This is not something unique to the electric drivetrain. Production began in April, but instead of all those pickups being in the hands, it seems a good chunk of them are being stockpiled. It's not a big deal. It'll be fine. These will be moved shortly. This is not new. It's not new to Ford. Tesla had a stockpile of models S and X out on their test track, in Fremont as well. This just kind of happens sometimes. Here's another one where I was wrong. New Ford 2023 Transit van brings 236-mile range. Now this is in Europe, so it's probably the WLTP standard, or certainly not the EPA's. It's a more forgiving standard. But even still, if you're going to be able to get 180, 200 miles, the current Transit van only has a range of like 100, 125 miles. It's not very good for most people, but it doesn't have to be, because most people aren't buying them. It's not even designed for most people yet. It's designed for very narrow, limited use cases, and in those cases it works. Otherwise they wouldn't buy it. But by doubling the range, it more than doubles the addressable market. Yeah, it's going to be great. And I was wrong about that. Boy, was I wrong about that. So I am absolutely excited. Ford, it seems, is getting their business together. As a reminder, no bear today. We are bear-free. The 100-acre woods, it's very quiet. Ford is selling 8 million shares of once high-flying EV maker Rivian, sources say. Now, 8 million is not even a majority of its shares. JP Morgan Chase also plans to sell a share block between 13 and 15 million. Rivian stock is having some problems. But that doesn't mean Rivian itself is having problems. Ford owns 102 million shares. Ford will be selling them through Goldman Sachs. So maybe not on the open market. I don't know. There was a lockup period after it going public when insiders could not sell their shares. It has expired. So maybe it's just fundraising, but boy, are they losing their butts on it. So let's take a look at Rivian stock. Ooh, 22.79 from a high. So it's down 77% from IPO, and from an all-time high, it's down 86%. But how's Ford doing? Same period. Well, if we go to November, down 30%, up 15% on the year, so that's pretty good. But let's look at this is the Invesco Triple Q, which follows the NASDAQ, down 7.5% over the past year. And since November, go about here, down 24.5%, almost 25%. A lot of doom and gloom in the market right now. Fundamentals haven't changed. So not much to, I would say, if you're a long-term investor, not much to worry about. There are not better investments to get. Well, I should get into real estate. Mortgage rates are going up. I don't know if you're going to see the kind of double-digit appreciation we've seen in recent years, which was largely fueled by very low-cost mortgage rates. Mercedes is virtually sold out of EVs. Is that good? I'd argue it is. For that matter, Volkswagen EVs are sold out. And if Bear was here, like he was last week, he would tell you that Volvo is also sold out. The Polestar is also sold out. Everybody is selling out. And this isn't just necessarily for EVs. This is for all vehicles. A lot of ICE vehicles are also sold out for the 2022 model year, because the new model year comes out in, September? Sometimes even August? For that matter, Elon Musk warns Tesla may stop taking orders on some of its vehicles due to ridiculous demand. That would be a first. They keep jacking up prices and the orders just keep coming in. Now, it would be nice if the demand was that high in a world of unbridled supply. But supply is really constrained. And that's difficult and unfortunate. Lucid, this is another one where I was a little off, makes European debut with €218 Air Dream Edition. Only a limited number. And the base price will be about €100. €100,000. Will it? On that remains to be seen. Lucid is absolutely struggling with cash burn and their ability to keep their operating costs in check. Pretty car, though. Lucid delivers just 360 EVs in Q1. Price hikes loom after $600 million operating loss. That's a big operating loss. You'd not need to sell that many cars to make it up, though. Although everyone you sell also incurs more operating costs. I'm skeptical about the future of Lucid, in large part due to just how aggressively Peter Rawlinson has been cashing out his shares. He's pulled out tens of millions. Here's where I was wrong. Rivian R1S spotted in the wild. It's just a test version, but the fact that they've got it at all suggests to me it's coming, and it's coming soon. I wish this was a design they actually sold for it. I think it'd sell better. I mean, yeah, you can get whatever wrap you want, but once you get into patterns, the wraps get a little expensive. 5 things to know about the all-electric Toyota BuzzForks. It's cool, it's performance, peace of mind. Oh, and also, when the temperature gets below 32, you can't charge it. May not be possible below -4 Fahrenheit. Well, that rules out a lot of northern climates. This is an all-wheel drive car. That's where people want the ability to charge in cold weather. So that's frustrating. Made in China Tesla wholesale shipments collapsed in April. Lockdown brought the factory to a halt. The plant was basically closed all month. If you are one of my patrons, you've seen the weekly construction updates, and you can see that there hasn't been any Shanghai news in a while. In a month or more. Production resumed, but only on a limited scale. And while they were able to make 10,000 in the month, they were only able to ship to customers 1,500, 94% less than 1 year ago. However, if we go back 2 years, it's almost on par. In January of 2020, they only sold 2,600. So for a plant that's closed, in a city that's closed, in a country that's partially closed, still good numbers. And they do have manufacturing workers back on the lines doing some work, but not at full speed. On the plus side, 183,000 units in the first 4 months of 2020, compared to half that a year ago. So even with the shutdown, they're doing good-ish. But that's all right, because they will get right back up to speed. They're already back up to speed. Oh, wait. Tesla halts most output again, because now they've run out of parts. Not entirely, just some parts. And it turns out, to build a complete car, you need all the parts. It's weird. Just ship them without seats. I don't think people will notice. Our data shows most people don't even use the back seat. Cut them. Would it surprise you? We call this the pizza delivery variant. Yeah, this bad boy can fit so many hot pizzas in it. Why is North Carolina building a Vietnamese car? Vin Group, ever heard of it? They make EVs, or they're about to. This is kind of overlooked. Big old factory, kind of flying under the radar. They've got decent funding. The prototypes seem decent. They're cute. They're reasonably good performing. There's no reason this can't happen. When I said who to look for EVs, I said Tesla, of course. I said Europe, of course. And I said China, of course. I did not say Vietnam. So hopefully this works out. More competition is always good. I'm not going to get political. I don't get political. Musk says he would reverse Twitter's ban of Donald Trump. I don't know if he would. He likes to troll a little bit. Elon Musk is wrong. Research shows content rules on Twitter help preserve free speech from bots and other manipulation. Opening up the floodgates entirely would be a bad thing. We know his first objective is to crack down on the bots, specifically the crypto bots. There's a challenge to that. And cracking down on them will crack down on other forms too. But he even said he wouldn't return to Twitter, even if his account is reinstated. So let's get back to he does a little trolling. Elon was on the President's Council for Technology in 2017. He was the first of the industry leaders to abandon that group, saying, it's not effective, we're not being heard, we're not meeting frequently enough, nothing is happening. And shortly thereafter, a lot of people left. If he does some trolling, wouldn't it be juicy for him to say, I'll let you back on if you want, but you have to tell me you want. And then he would say, I want. And then he'd say, actually, we reviewed it and it's a no. Because again, Elon does some trolling. He loves the trolling. You got to consider how many big name channels only got into Cyber Rodeo as a +1. Not even directly invited. Big names, not even invited. TeslaCon asked him to do a surprise appearance, and he didn't respond. They asked him to do a Zoom meeting or even a pre-taped little thing. Nothing. Now, does Elon think that the guys at TeslaCon are a bunch of jackwads? I don't know. I have no way of knowing that. I don't think so. I've met a lot of those guys, and I would say 2 of them were jerks, maybe out of hundreds. But he likes to do some trolling. It's kind of his jam. Regardless of what's said, I don't know if that's going to happen. Elon does say he's going to find a way to squeeze more value out of Twitter, and I have 100% confidence that is something he can do. 40% of Bitcoin investors are now underwater. It's down 55% from its November peak, and 40% of holders have lost money. The past month alone, 15%. There's an interesting chart here. If we go back a year, look at that. It's kind of fallen off a cliff there. Tough to say what's going on. If it goes down enough, there will be an impairment that shows on the books for Tesla, but we're not there yet. Here's at Elon Musk on Tesla's decision to open up its Tesla Supercharging network to electric vehicles from other brands. Elon has said that CCS will be made available at all Supercharger locations. That would be a big deal. I'd made a video once saying that that would not happen, and then we found out that there could be good money on the line for that, and I reversed my decision. I had to, because once money is available for building out the charger network, it just makes sense. So that's something that apparently is coming. Tesla recalls 130,000 vehicles due to CPU overheating, but the fix is again over the air. We've got to come up with a different term for over-the-air recalls. A recall used to mean you'd probably never find out about it. If you did, you'd probably struggle to get an appointment, and if you did, the fix would be ham-fisted at best. I had a friend who had a 2000-something Taurus where there was a problem that the fuel gauge could read that you still have fuel when you're bone dry and run out. So he brought it in for the fix, and all they did was adjusted the needle. And he's like, well, great. So now when it says I'm on empty, I still have like a quarter tank. You've effectively, due to providing only poor data, made my tank effectively a quarter smaller, because now I have to guess how much fuel I have left. That's not a good fix. Tesla explains its approach to sourcing lithium, nickel, and cobalt directly from mines in impressive detail. Tesla's going not to the cell providers to say, give me cheaper cells. They're going straight to the mineral providers, to the miners, and saying, give me better prices, which I can then allocate to the cell producers, who may be us, who may not be us. The prices are skyrocketing, and we're going through different steps to approach it and try and find better ways to keep our price in check. Stellantis chief warns of battery shortages as car makers switch to electric. Oh, you're just figuring this out? You're just figuring this out? You've been buying ZEV credits from Tesla for years, and you're just figuring this out. Dumb. Genuinely dumb. We're going to get into questions here real quick. Let me do a quick thanks for my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, all that good stuff. Don't tune out yet, my friends, because while this is the end of this part of this video, there is a hour-long version of it you can check out over on the second channel. And my question is, do you like this? Do you want more of these on this channel? Do you want me to condense all the podcasts as they come out in this kind of fashion? Would you watch them? Would you like them? You got to let me know in the comments below. And stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots, I don't know, next week.